Hello. I'm going to talk about something interesting. How to prevent divorces. How to prevent matrimonial disputes. Did you know there is a section 13 of Family Courts Act which explicitly prohibits lawyers from interfering or dealing in family matters. Section 13 of the Family Courts Act. Those of you who are law students, just check it out. It says right to legal representation, notwithstanding anything contained in any law, no party to a suit or proceeding before a family court shall be entitled as of right to be represented by a legal practitioner. I'm not going to talk today about section 13, but in the infinite wisdom of the legislature, they must have thought something before keeping the lawyers out of family proceedings and family courts. They were right. Lawyers, I personally believe, this is not a professional opinion, are not really required in a family dispute. The topic that I'm going to discuss today, how to prevent divorces, has some very interesting suggestions from me. Go to Google and type how to prevent divorces, and this is what you will see. I'm just going to read it out. In fact, please bear with me, I'm just going to type this. Just go to Google and type how to prevent, do this as I do, how to prevent divorce, and let's see what comes up. 10 tips for preventing divorce. I'm not advocating any of these 10 tips. My tips are going to be real and genuine and cold and from a lawyer to the everyday man and woman. The first tip here, which I don't suggest you adopt, is make time to connect lovingly with your spouse every day. That needs to be done. But that's not going to prevent divorces. I'm talking in the context of the Indian subcontinent. This video has absolutely no use for somebody who's not an Indian, particularly living in India. An American woman or an American man will not make out or gain much from this particular video. But make time to connect lovingly with your spouse every day. It doesn't make for a good advice in a country like India, in the life of a couple that's living in Mumbai or Delhi. Because to make time to connect lovingly with your spouse every day, you need space. You don't have that space because your mummy will be right around the corner when you're going to connect lovingly with your spouse, right? That's a reality and we need to live with it. Okay, compliment your spouse regularly, both in private and in front of others. It's a great advice. Okay, I'm going to read this out and then I'll give you my advice. Love your spouse in the way he or she wants to be loved. Take care of your appearance. Remain faithful. Do things together. Spend time apart. And so on and so forth. Very nice, unless that person feels umbrage that I took those suggestions lightly. Those are great suggestions. But how about this? To prevent divorces, these are the 3 things you can do according to me, in addition to the 10 things mentioned there. Number 1, we begin from an era of your life before marriage. Those of you who are married, you cannot change that. But then you can guide those who are about to get married. Pre-marriage, no expenses, no 5-star bashes, no 5,000 people gatherings. It's not possible in pandemic times anyway, but make it a part of your life that you're going to get married to each other and not to the community, not to the neighborhood, not to the relatives. Keep them all out. Why? Because go to the nearest family court, the nearest one, sit down for an entire day of hearings and see what plays out. The divorce issues start actually from before the marriage. So much money was spent. We were forced to spend so much money. Well, we spend so much, you spend that much, and those are all integral parts of disputes. Claims are made that the expenditure incurred in marriage should also be refunded and reimbursed, usually by the girl's side. How about this? If you're a young man about to get married, tell your papa that you do not want him to spend any money on this. Nothing is required. No show, no tamasha, no nautanki. Keep it separate, go to the family court, get married. One big dispute is killed right there. Separate bank accounts for the young man and the young woman, or the man and the woman. Separate bank accounts. Two separate bank accounts, keep them separate forever. Absolutely no monetary transaction between the two. In India, as absolutely nothing to be taken from the girl's side. Zero. In fact, men should take great pride in not taking anything from the opposite side, and by treating this as a sacrosanct suggestion. As for the woman's side, refuse to give in anything. Refuse to give in to anything. Absolutely nothing. If you are keen to send off your daughter, and if you're keen to buy something, buy it for her. And just whatever she can wear on her person is good enough. You don't have to stuff a trunk with gold jewelry and what have you. So before marriage, don't incur expenses, have separate accounts, keep a simple ceremony, and right there you have immediately done away with what could otherwise have been a problem down the line. I'm talking of a situation where a divorce really comes up. If it doesn't come up, great, but this will definitely go a long way. Now, post-marriage, the moment you get married, and from that moment onwards, a separate household for the young couple to live together. Now, this is unique to the Indian subcontinent because it's quite unheard of in the rest of the world, especially in the Americas or the countries in Europe, that a young lady marries a young man and comes into his household. There is a reason why I say this. The Domestic Violence Act is in force. The Indian Penal Code already has provisions wherein an aggrieved young lady or an aggrieved wife can rope in all the family members who are sharing the household and make them a part of the litigation. Just read section 498A and the summary of Domestic Violence Act, and you will be able to understand that if you share a household, anybody that lives together with you is fair game in a complaint. When you live separately, there is no question of a relative or a parent being dragged into your internal matrimonial disputes. One cannot help but touch the social aspect of this. It is not usually the man who goes into the girl's household. It is usually, almost always, the girl who comes into the man's household. Overnight, she calls the man's father Papa and the man's mother Mummy, when in reality, they are not her parents. They can never be. She is a daughter-in-law and she can never be the daughter. Now, this may not go down well with those of you who live in great family situations. You can simply watch some other video. This holds true for a lot of young women who find themselves displaced, whose aspirations are not understood, who believe that they have married a young man and not really the household, but end up realizing that they have actually married the entire household. And from here begin the disputes. Most of the disputes can be traced to this one act of living together. If a young couple is left to live alone, they will over time mature. They will fight. They will find a way to get together. But with relentless interference of relatives, it becomes difficult and they find themselves roped into one of these family disputes. Therefore, after marriage, keep it simple, live separately. In fact, the family of the groom should be very particular about this, that they live separate. Now, this is very difficult to accomplish because in India, all sons are ladlas of the household and they shall remain so forever. And it's a massive adjustment that the young woman has to do in her life. If you can do it, great. If that's not happening, if you see differences simmering, arguments happening, and neighbors being able to hear your squabbles, then it's time for you to really look at a separate household just for the young couple. Well, keep that separation of bank accounts separate always. You can, for all practical purposes, have a joint account for any and all joint assets that you intend to accrue together. You can have a joint account for that. That really obliterates the need even for a will down the line. So all assets can be joint between the husband and the wife after marriage. Most important point, keep lawyers out. Last point, keep lawyers out of this, because there really is no need for a lawyer to interfere between a man and a woman having a matrimonial dispute. There's nothing he or she can do. Absolutely nothing. It does not require great lawyership, if you ask me, to resolve family disputes. Family disputes must be resolved by the following people: the man and the woman. Relatives should stay out of it. Parents should stay out of it. Because if one side brings his or her parent into this, the other side will do the same. And distant relatives should definitely be kept out of it. They have no say in this. It's a bond between a man and a woman, and they should be left to resolve it themselves. Everybody in the society should encourage them to do so, and if they are not able to do so, only then should they approach the family courts, and keep lawyers out. If this dispute cannot be resolved by two adults sitting across a table anywhere in the world, then it certainly cannot be resolved by anybody else, including the so-called family members and relatives. So, to summarize this quickly, if you're not married, get married in a simple ceremony, or preferably don't even bother, just get married. Those of you who are law aficionados, watch Better Call Saul and see how Saul gets married to Kim Wexler, just like that. Separate bank accounts, no expenses. Post-marriage, separate household. A marriage is a bond between a man and a woman, and nobody else has anything to do with it. They should fight together, live together, love together, and do all of it just with each other. Absolutely no lawyers. If you just follow these 3 steps, there is a big possibility that about 30% of the family court disputes will get resolved already, or at least 30% of the disputes that are going to happen now in the future will not occur, will not happen. I hope you did not find this advice to be completely out of sync or completely unpalatable. If you did, I am not sorry about it. See you soon for another video. Bye-bye.